This is an important announcement I have to make, and by an announcement I really mean bizarre. As mentioned by the title, this is a story of how I unknowingly downloaded a Counter-Strike Online 2 malware. Some of you might have watched Escalation's video on re-downloading the game and playing it, and no doubt this has brought a surge of both old and new players back to the scene. Originally back in 2018, a compiler going by the name of Ochi, or to some of you cultured men out there, Kimochi,
nice,
released the full client for testing purposes. However, it was pretty much all vanilla, so there were lots of steps involved, from setting up the master server to running each map separately. All of these were done through the command prompt, and you can imagine the horror days of typing everything line by line. I used to program during my college days, so each time I manually ran CSO2, I would have some PTSD flashbacks. Okay, that was a little exaggerative, but you get the idea. Having to run everything via CMD just to play a game gets tiring quickly. And not to forget that playing matches with other players were nigh impossible because the netcode was super broken, and the moment the host leaves the game, everything just freezes. Honestly, I don't know how to explain, but you know when you play Source games, your character starts bobbing up and down while everything else remains in place, and you see some red messages at the top right corner that you're going to auto disconnect. Yeah, that's how it is. So, over time, different communities start forming up to work on the game and make it playable by designing a game launcher which simplifies the whole process, along with the suggestion of setting up temporary servers on Redmin Virtual Private Network. Redmin is basically like Hamachi. Some of you old school players could relate, having used it back in the days to play Dota or Counter-Strike 1.6. Pretty much game friendly, and soon servers started popping up for Counter-Strike Online 2. But now, the danger comes in. While we can't quote official, some versions have stood up among the community and have dedicated Discord servers on their own, and have applied modifications to the original version, so there are new varieties of weapons, character models, and probably even user interfaces. So recently I started updating my tutorial website to include versions which had launchers or were easily accessible through Redmi VPN, until I happened to stumble across a community website which promoted itself as a multi-language community based on a fork version of Ochi's compilation. For the sake of privacy and security, I will not reveal the website behind this. However, it existed solely as an IP address without any domain name. It is pretty much content with just a string of numbers, and you and I would find it a little odd, but nothing too suspicious.
okay.
So, back to the story. I was up late at night before going off to bed when I discovered this version. Seems to have a sizable community, and the layout looks pretty neat. As you can see, lots of modifications have been made to the cases, and I'm not gonna lie, the launcher even has an auto updater. Neat! I downloaded the files and launcher, ran it, and voila! Everything looked good on the outside. However, I decided to continue exploring the client the next day, and when I woke up, the malware had struck. I wasn't made aware, but the first symptom was that I couldn't access my own website, or csonline2.net. Each time I tried to access the insecure page, because my website is basically redirected to the secure protocol, it would replace the IP address with my domain name. Initially, I thought my website was hijacked or something, but after confirming it only happened on my PC, the answer was crystal clear. My computer was browser hijacked by the CSO2 malware. Now, this was really scary. I ran virus scans, all results came back negative. So while browsing around, I noticed the malware had created a folder called CSO2 Courier Updater Files, and boy was I in for a surprise. The contents were basically YouTube channels and videos that were browsed on YouTube, that was mine basically, as well as some JavaScript files and some unknown websites that were automatically downloaded. So whatever I was doing after installing that piece of crap actively downloaded almost every site I visited. Thankfully, I never accessed any login pages during the incident, and I managed to remove the malware by restoring my system back in time. Now, I decided to do some detective work and before making any assumption or allegation, because you know there's got to be some proof, right? So by using a spare laptop, I hooked up the same website and downloaded the files. I've installed Glasswire, which notifies of any changes in the system, as well as incoming and outgoing connections. Here's the recording of the whole process. Right after running the English language launcher, Glasswire triggered an alert. Apparently, the malware had modified the host's file. Now, for those wondering what that file is, it's a system file hidden deep within Windows which assigns IP addresses to domain names. So, when I opened that file, it basically hijacked several CSO2 related domains to its own IP address. And look! My website was right there. Anytime I try to visit any websites related like csonline2.nexon.com, which has already been rendered obsolete since they closed 2 years ago, they will automatically be redirected to this shady crap. You can see, right? Very sneaky beaky. At this point, I didn't want to venture further because there might be more malware waiting to execute once I press on the start button, so I decided to clear everything on the laptop as well. Therefore, to everyone watching this, please stay safe when you randomly search for other CSO2 versions to download. I've linked my server page, which currently has two trustworthy sources for now, from Organer and Tianyeke, so feel free to check them out. The others might be riddled with malware, and they might be way worse than my case. While this is not a paid promotion, I highly advise all of you to give Glasswire a try. It's free to download and logs all activities including suspicious ones, as well as bandwidth consumption from all applications also, so treat this as an added layer of security. You know, after all, security is important, so always better to be safe than sorry. And that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.